In the contemporary church, biblical teaching revolving around the Ten Commandments is inconsistent at best. Paul's statement, mostly misunderstood, is often what Christians will run to. For you're not under the law, but under grace, Romans 6:14. Christians often want to divorce themselves from God's holiness. And they frequently do not understand how holiness in life is attached to both God's character and God's commandments. I take up this topic in this new work called The 10 Commandments in the Life of the Christian. Right there, many will balk at the notion that the commandments have anything to do with them. That's Old Testament stuff. Today's church is very happy to take Christ as Savior, and in some instances, they'll take him as prophet. But as the commanding king, who commands them to be holy, well, they don't want to have anything to do with that. Christ says, if a man love me, he will keep my words. What will the outcome be of a man who loves Jesus to keep his words? Jesus says, and my Father will love him, and we will come unto him and make our abode with him. John 14:23. Union and communion with Christ are set on keeping his words. What are his words? Are they only found in the Gospels? The king commands his people, and he expects them to obey. This is not legalism, as if one would work for their justification, but rather it's obedience, that one would be made more like the king in holiness. Christ says, if you love me, keep my commandments. John 14 and verse 15. This work takes Christ's 10 commandments, the commands of King Jesus, and not only expounds their basic teachings, but also how those commands apply to the life of the Christian. First considered is the relationship between the law and the gospel. Then each command will be considered in both their positive and negative aspects. In other words, do not lie also means tell the truth. Then 3 concluding chapters will cover those people who count the law of God as a strange thing, and those people who turn away from the law and reject it, and how Christ is the end of the law for all believers, and what that actually means in light of his covenant work and his merit. This book is available right now at Puritan Publications. Go to www.puritanpublications.com for more information on this work, both in ebook and in print form. It is a practical study of how the law of Christ, as Paul calls it in Galatians, applies to every Christian, both in obedience and submission to Christ the King, and for the good of their own growth and holiness. May the Lord bless you as you read and study along with Christ in considering all of his commandments, his 10 holy words, and may Christ set you upon his highway of holiness for the good of your soul.